What is good, fam? Just when it looked like the smoke finally cleared and Drake was tucked away in his embassy, Gillie Da Kid popped up to rewrite the history of the biggest loss in hip-hop. During the March 17, 2026 episode of $1 Million Worth of Game, Gillie went on a massive rant claiming the Kendrick and Drake beef was rigged by public bias from the jump. He told the world that the facts did not matter because the black community was dying to see Drake F*** King lose regardless of what was said in the records. It is a wild take to have 2 years after the battle, and it is strange to see Gillie playing Drake's defense attorney when the rest of the culture moved on. This narrative feels like a desperate attempt to be a contrarian instead of acknowledging the masterclass Kendrick put on for the world to see. Gillie is pushing this idea of the beautiful lie to dismiss every surgical strike Kendrick made against Drake's character during that historic run. He wants us to believe Kendrick made up stories that the world accepted because we were bored and looking for a villain to take down. The reality is that Gillie looks funny in this situation because his timing is suspicious and his logic is shakier than his current playlist. This beautiful lie defense centers on the idea that Kendrick's allegations of sexual misconduct and a hidden daughter were never proven in a court of law. He is clearly frustrated that, not like us, is still blasted in arenas and clubs across the globe despite a lack of legal evidence to support the claims. Gillie did not hold back during the podcast when he said people will put smut on your name whether it is right or wrong, and he claims social media loves a beautiful lie. It is a nasty piece of work to invalidate the cultural impact of the beef by acting like a legal receipt is the only thing that matters in a rap battle. Drake had every opportunity to provide his own receipts and rebuttals, but he failed to move the needle because the music Kendrick dropped was light years ahead in quality. Gillie is acting like the public consensus was just a groupthink project instead of a natural reaction to Drake getting outclassed on every level of the game. By focusing on the lack of a legal verdict for Kendrick's claims, Gillie is ignoring how rap battles work and why Kendrick cemented his victory in the eyes of the streets. The culture decided Kendrick Lamar was the king based on the lyrical warfare and the way he dismantled Drake's entire persona piece by piece until nothing was left but a shell. Gillie can scream about a beautiful lie all he wants, but he cannot ignore that Drake's response in the Hard Part 6 was one of the biggest fumbles in hip-hop history. People did not choose to hate Drake for no reason, and Kendrick did not win because of some imaginary bias Gillie invented in 2026 to stay relevant. The world watched two titans go at it, and one came prepared with a cohesive narrative that resonated with hip-hop, while the other seemed lost in his own ego. Gillie's attempt to paint Drake as an innocent victim of a smear campaign is embarrassing for a man who claims to be tapped into the culture. He is essentially calling the entire audience stupid for believing Kendrick, which is a bold move for someone whose platform relies on that same audience for views. This defense looks like a calculated move to get back into the good graces of the OVO camp, and it is leaving a bad taste for everyone who truly loves this music. Gillie is out here acting like the truth only exists if a judge and jury sign off on it in some courtroom. In hip-hop, your reputation lives or dies on the words you speak and the energy you put out, and Kendrick moved like a man who had the literal receipts. Gillie wants to act like Kendrick just made things up, but he completely ignores how Kendrick has always kept his ear to the industry in its darkest corners. That dirt Kendrick threw was the final nail in the coffin because Drake could not scrub it off, and no amount of podcasting from Gillie is going to change that reality years later. It feels like a long game for Gillie, but he is losing the respect of every fan who watched the charts and the streets in real time. He tries to play the neutral observer while using loaded phrases like beautiful lie to describe Kendrick's work, which is the most obvious way to pick a side. The more he talks, the more it feels like he is trying to sell a narrative that the sheer greatness of Kendrick Lamar already debunked. We really need to look at the receipts from May of 24 because that is when Gillie started showing his hand in this whole situation. A report from Hip Hop DX on May 6, 24 showed Gillie declaring Drake the winner right after the release of the Hard Part 6. That was a take that basically nobody else on the planet agreed with at the time, but he was standing on business for the OVO side anyway. Drake had just handed Kendrick the victory on a silver platter with that defensive and awkward record, and everyone else realized it immediately. The funniest part of this saga is how fast Gillie pivoted his stance once he saw the entire world moving in Kendrick's direction. When Not Like Us became a global anthem and started breaking every record in the book, Gillie was right there in the front row praising the track. He acted like he had been a Kendrick supporter from day one, which was a classic case of shifting loyalties to stay relevant with the winning team. This kind of flip-flopping makes his current return to a pro-Drake narrative look completely fraudulent to anyone with a memory. His opinion is not based on any real conviction or understanding of the music, but rather on where the clout is currently residing. He moves wherever the wind blows the loudest, and right now, he seems to think that Drake is due for a comeback he wants to be part of. Before we see how this play ties into Drake's new album, tell me if y'all think Gillie is really feeling the music, or if he just thirsty for that OVO stimulus package. Drop your thoughts in the comments, no cap, and hit that like and subscribe button so we can keep this going. Let's continue. Before we see how this ties into Drake's new album, I want to hear your thoughts on Gillie's sudden change of heart. Tell me in the comments if you think he is just chasing clout or if he truly believes this new narrative, and make sure you do it no cap. While you are at it, hit the like and subscribe buttons so we can keep this going. Let us continue. The idea that Gillie is some objective observer in this beef is laughable when you look at how inconsistent he has been over the last 2 years. He is trying to get back into Drake's good graces, and it feels like a calculated move to secure an interview or some exclusive access for his podcast. It is nasty work to see a veteran in the game acting like a mouthpiece for a camp he was just distancing himself from a few months ago. His history shows that he is more than willing to trade his integrity for a few viral clips and a mention from a superstar. By trying to rewrite the history of the Kendrick beef now, he is admitting that his previous praise for Kendrick was just a way to avoid being on the wrong side of a cultural landslide. He is getting exposed for being a fair-weather fan who only supports the winner until he sees a chance to get paid by the loser. This latest rant about the beautiful lie is just another example of him trying to manipulate the audience into forgetting that he was just as caught up in the Kendrick hype as everyone else was in 24. This whole situation comes together when you look at the massive rollout Drake is running for his 9th studio album titled Iceman. We are watching a coordinated effort to flip the script before this project drops in 2026, and Gillie is right on the front lines doing the dirty work. Drake recently shared a cryptic post on his Instagram story where he claimed this comeback is personal, and he described it as an apology to himself for everything that went down lately. It looks like Gillie's rant is just one piece of a bigger PR puzzle meant to scrub away the mess Kendrick Lamar left behind after their battle. They are pushing the narrative that those allegations were nothing but lies so that Drake can step into this new era without the heavy baggage of being a certified loser in the eyes of the streets. A textbook case of damage control is unfolding right now, and it would not be a shock if Gillie received a direct signal to start planting these seeds of doubt among his listeners. Speculation is heating up that Drake and his team are pulling every media string they have left to make sure Iceman does not get buried by the ghost of Kendrick Lamar. Having someone like Gillie Da Kid go on a viral rant about the beef being rigged is a clear attempt to create a safe space for Drake fans to come back without feeling like they are backing a defeated artist. The real problem with this plan is that the culture already watched the movie, and we know exactly how it ends no matter what kind of spin they try to put on it now. Drake can call this comeback an apology to himself all he wants, but that apology should really go to the fans who had to watch him get dismantled by a much better lyricist. Gillie is out here doing mental gymnastics to protect the OVO brand, but he is only managing to make himself look more desperate for a seat at the table than he already did. No matter how many podcasts Gillie records or how many Instagram stories Drake shares, that final verdict was locked in the moment Kendrick Lamar stepped on that stage at the pop-out. He showed the world what real unity looks like, and the culture decided Kendrick was the king because he stood for something more than just chart positions and shallow hits. That reality is something no amount of PR cleanup can ever change, and while Drake might come back with hits on Iceman, the moral victory belongs to Compton for the rest of history. Gillie can scream about beautiful lies until his voice gives out, but the truth is that Kendrick was right all along, and the whole world felt the weight of his words. We are seeing a desperate attempt to save a legacy that was permanently changed by a man who did not need a podcast to prove his point. Kendrick let the music speak for him, and that music is still ringing out in every city and every hood, while Drake and Gillie are left trying to explain away a loss that everyone saw coming. The king stays the king, and that is just the way it is.